Let's begin this broadcast with a story that impacts all of you. Over the weekend, around 50% of flights, Indigo flights, were cancelled. They were delayed. We'll tell you why. So apparently, the crew did not report to work. They called in sick. Now, Mirror Now has accessed inside scoop of Indigo's delayed flights. Sources reveal that Air India did not conduct any cabin crew recruitment drive on July 2nd, indicating that the 900 out of 1,600 Indigo crew members had gone on an unprecedented mass leave, which resulted in delay of over 55% of flights. On July 3rd, about 30% flights were reported to be delayed. Remember, it was alleged that Indigo faced crew shortage. At the same time, Air India conducted its recruitment drive. DGCA took strong cognizance of the matter and has sought a report from Indigo. All right, what we'll do is we'll try and have a word with our reporters first on this story. So this is the latest that we are getting for you as far as the Indigo crisis is concerned. We are also going to line up some voices on this big story. But the latest that we are getting for you is that Air India has denied carrying out any recruitment drive on this story. For more on this, I'm joined by Madhav on the broadcast. Madhav, this is a story that concerns people because they were inconvenienced over the weekend. It was believed that the Indigo flight crew members called in sick to apparently take part in a recruitment drive being carried out by rival Air India. However, Air India has denied these allegations. For the benefit of our viewers, could you take us through the latest on this, please?
Well, one thing is very clear. Indigo is the biggest airline in the country, domestically speaking, at the moment. And that's why this is a very, very big story. Because if there are hundreds of flights of Indigo getting delayed for apparently crew not turning up on time, some of them calling sick, or whether you could choose to call it mass casual leave or whatever it may be the case, it is for the airline to certainly come out and explain what has happened. Now, we had seen some reports coming out yesterday that this was due to a recruitment drive or interviews that were conducted by Air India. Now, sources and Air India has come out and very clearly denied that there were any such interviews that were held either for cabin crew or for staff of other categories. And in such a situation, therefore, the question that arises is that what is the reason for all of these staff not reporting to work or reporting late to work? Is there a particular pattern in this? And can the airline come out and make it stand clear? What is of great concern is the fact that for an airline that prides itself on having almost 100% on-time performance, the on-time performance of Indigo even yesterday was only 71%. And this is as far as the official figures of the Ministry of Civil Aviation are concerned. So the second successive day that there has been a problem, and what really is the reason for this? Now, the aviation regulator, the DGCA, which looks into not just the safety aspects but also the health and the operational aspects of the airlines, has sought a report from Indigo on this. But to the latest information that we have, that report was still awaited. Sources in the DGCA had said that no information had yet come from the airline on that particular aspect, which leaves one to also ask a question as to why for the past 3 days Indigo has officially been silent. Why has there been no official statement issued? Do the passengers, do the regulator, do the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and even the shareholders of Indigo not have a right to know what exactly is happening within the airline, given the fact that Indigo also happens to be a listed company? So these are some very, very important questions at this point of time. And clearly, of course, whether even if there are issues within the airline, can such issues really be brushed under the carpet rather than addressing issues and addressing, problems that the staff or the cabin crew may be facing? What really is going on inside the airline is perhaps something that only Indigo can tell us through a formally issued statement in the next few days.
All right. Thank you, Madhav, for those updates. A very important question that you raised in this conversation is why is there silence as far as Indigo is concerned? The stakeholders deserve to know, the flyers deserve to know why 55% of flights were delayed over the weekend. I'm also joined by Samir Dikshit on the broadcast. Samir, could you take us through what happened today? Were there any delays today as well? And do we know why Indigo so far has maintained a steady silence on this one?
So what impact today it has got on the flight in the sense that how many flights are delayed and how far the inconvenience the passengers they have faced. So So we'll get the exact number maybe a couple of hours later. But as of now, there is no concrete figure. But yes, there is the impact is there. A few flights it has got delayed. But to what extent? What is the exact number that we will get in next couple of hours? But as of now, yes, the entire situation has not yet been resolved to normalcy in the sense that the entire 100% punctuality has yet not been achieved by the airline. And why the airline is quite silent on the entire episode is quite suspicious, because we have tried multiple times to get to know that what is the real reason behind it. Why this Air India episode it came in between? Was the Air India real factor behind this entire flight delayed episode, or is there something else? Because it has also been reported, it has also been suggested that in such a huge number, the employees going in for a sick leave also indicates that everything is not going well within the airline. There might be some issues that employees are facing, whether it be related to their salaries or the work culture. But if yes, it is there, then the airline has to address it. And yes, there are media queries that need to be addressed, that need to be responded. But as of now, the airline has maintained 100% silence, no official response from the airline. But we have raised multiple times. Let's see if they come up with any concrete answer on the same.
Dikshit and Madhav for getting us those updates, because this is the story that concerns you, the taxpayers. And given the crisis that's been brewing in the aviation sector of late, there have been several incidents where the flights have been cancelled, where the flights have been delayed, where your money hasn't been refunded, or whether it is safety. So this is another incident which talks about the inconvenience of people. Let's first listen into the voices of people that have been coming on this story. Take a look.
जो कल इंडिगो के फ्लाइट सब जो डिले हुए हैं, तो मेरा क्रूज मेंबर और उनके स्टाफ से एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है कि नॉट द कॉस्ट ऑफ द पैसेंजर, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस ऑल बेयर बाय द कॉस्ट टू द पैसेंजर्स. उनका टाइम वैल्यू है और कोई ना कोई अपने पर्सनल प्रॉब्लम के हिसाब से या कोई की प्रोविजन जाना चाहता है बाय क्विक बाय योर फैसिलिटीज़, और वही अगर आप डिस्टर्ब करेंगे तो इट विल बी वेरी मच डिफिकल्ट फॉर द पैसेंजर.
ऐसे स्टाफ में इंडिगो स्टाफ ने कुछ एक्शन नहीं उठाया था इस पर, बिकॉज आई थिंक इंडिगो का स्टाफ शुड बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल, बिकॉज वो अथॉरिटी ले रहे हैं इतने सारे पैसेंजर्स, दे शुड बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल.
मैनेजमेंट बराबर करना चाहिए. पब्लिक को कितना तकलीफ होता है उसका वो नहीं, वो रिटर्न तो करते नहीं वो लोग, उसका बेनिफिट थोड़ी हम लोग को बराबर है ना. उसका जो पैसा गया वो कौन देगा? वो लोग देने के लिए कितना टाइम लगाते, बाद में सर्विस भी बराबर देते नहीं, फिर वो कारण बता के वो लोग ये करते.
वो एयर इंडिया की जो इंटरव्यूज थे उसकी वजह से वो हुआ, और वो एक ही दिन का प्रॉब्लम था, वो हमेशा का प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं रहने वाला है. तो आगे देखते हैं क्या होता है.
आई थिंक दे शुड ट्राई टू रिजॉल्व द इशू जो भी है. अगर सैलरी हाइक का मैंने हेडलाइन रीड किया था तो वो है तो उनको करना चाहिए, क्योंकि मैंने ये भी रीड किया था कि काफ़ी टाइम से उनको सैलरी का इंक्रीमेंट नहीं मिला है. सो दैट इज़ अ प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि होना तो चाहिए. प्लस यू नो इन्फ्लेशन है, महंगाई है, सब बढ़ रहा है, तो सैलरी भी एवरी ईयर एनुअली एटलीस्ट सम परसेंटेज बढ़ना चाहिए.
All right, to understand this crisis better, I'm joined by Ajay Awtaney, who's editor of live-lounge.com. Ajay, thank you so much for joining us on Mirror Now. How do you see this? Because we understand that this crisis is not just in India. Across the world, there is a manpower crisis in the aviation sector. And what happened in Indigo over the weekend is something which raises a lot of alarms. What is your view on this?
Hi, Archana. I think, I will concur with you on the fact that there is a global short supply of manpower at this point of time in the aviation sector, across the ecosystem, I guess. And a lot of this is happening in Europe and the US at this point of time, where I guess during the COVID crisis, people were laid off, and the replacement for those people or the re-employment of those people has not happened as quickly as it should have, because travel took off surprisingly quickly, and these companies are short-staffed at this point of time. But coming to Indigo, I think obviously I would concur that there was some, this should hint at something else that is brewing inside the company, but I would refrain from commenting on what could have gone wrong. Both you and me, and I think your colleagues have already confirmed that this was not connected to the Air India situation. Air India did not have a recruitment drive on Saturday for that matter. And even when Air India had that recruitment drive on Friday, it was only in Mumbai and it was only for pre-screened applications. So it was not that you could just walk in and, apply there. So I think obviously Indigo bosses are taking a good look at this matter. And I seriously hope sooner than later we will get an insight into what happened and how are they fixing the situation.
All right. Ajay, I want to understand this concern from the prism of what the flyers go through, because of late what we have seen is that it is not a very rosy picture. Either the flights are getting cancelled without due intimation or the flights are delayed. Sometimes there's a refund problem. Sometimes there's a security concern. Is the aviation sector in India indeed going through a crisis that needs a serious introspection and a timely introspection, or do you think this is a one-off incident?
I think this is a one-off incident. While there are troubles at other airlines, and I believe, those are more with respect to the fact that their finances are not great and hence they're penny pinching on, taking care of the planes and so on. I believe all of that is the DGCA should be looking at that closely, and DGCA should be basically monitoring those airlines. But this, I believe, should be a one-off incident. We haven't seen a sort of a mass of people going on leave on the same day. I can't remember if this has happened ever before. Okay, and I've been covering the sector for over a decade. So I believe this should be a one-off. And obviously, whatever messaging, I guess, if was and that the employees wanted to pass on to their managers, I hope the message was received, and I hope there is something being done to being heard. But yeah, I wouldn't see a pattern into this unless it happens again and again. I don't think it will happen again, I guess.
All right. Thank you, Ajay, for weighing in on this very important story that affects people, affects flyers on a daily basis, and especially during the weekend when they were inconvenienced because Indigo flights were delayed, and there's a lot of back and forth that has happened so far. However, we do not have an official word from Indigo yet. We'll have to wait for their clarification. DGCA, aviation regulator, has also sought an explanation. So this is the big story that we are tracking on Mer Now.